Hey, what's up? My name is Jeremy. Welcome to the video, and today we're going to be talking about some video games. 2020 has not been the best year for basically everybody on the planet, but it has been a pretty solid year if you just focus on the video games aspect of it. We've had some pretty good releases that have come out this year, as well as the beginning of a brand new gaming generation. Haha, yes! The future is now, my friends. And as we wrap up and as we get closer to the end of 2020, I thought it'd be a great idea to just kind of like talk about or maybe list out some of what I think are the must-plays of 2020. I think we've got like 7 of them. So let's get into them, shall we? At number 7, we've got Demon's Souls Remake. It's a new gen game. It came out for the PlayStation 5. This remake, I have to say, is pretty solid. Full confession though, I've never played a Souls game before, and I've always been a bit scared of like super challenging games. One, because I don't think I'm a particularly good gamer, but also because I play video games to feel good about myself and generally have a good time. And constantly being defeated at the hands of monsters and having to make my way all the way back does not sound like a good time to me. But trying it out, I have to say, it was quite a good experience. Like, the game looks good, the play is tight, it is pretty unforgiving as a game, especially if you've never played a Souls game before. But hey, definitely worth a go, and no regrets, man, because the moment you manage to kill that fat official that throws fireballs at you, and I know there's probably tougher bosses and tougher enemies around, but that guy just grinds my gears. Satisfaction guaranteed, man. It feels really, really good. So definitely check it out if you're into challenge in your games, or if you've always been curious about the Souls games and wanted to jump on the bandwagon, but you always feel like you missed it. No better time than now, especially with this remake. Oh, it's good, I have to say. Solid game, get it if you like pain. This game you've definitely heard. Even if you've never played it, you've seen the memes, you've seen the clips, you've heard the lingo being used in your general everyday life. And I'm talking about you people who use the word sus for everything now. Among Us just came out of nowhere, and part of the appeal was the fact that it was such a simple premise. You play either an imposter or a crewmate, and if you're a crewmate, your job is to figure out who the imposter is, vote them out, and finish off the task and launch your spaceship into safety, I guess. And if you're the imposter, your job is to sabotage the tasks that are being done and kill people and throw suspicion. It's like a online version of Werewolves, if you ever played that group game or tabletop game before. The whole appeal of this game was the fact that it was so easily accessible. Even for casual gamers to jump on, it was just the way to go. You could play on PC, you could play on Android and iOS, you could play on the Nintendo Switch. There's really no excuse not to get in on it. And I guess that's all we have to say about Among Us. I'm pretty sure you've probably played this one though. Alright, how about the next one? Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Had to make the list because if you ask me, if there was one hype game that I was fully focused on in the first half of the year, it was FF7R. It was announced in 2015, took them like what felt like ages to be released, and when it finally hit, I have to say, personally, I wasn't disappointed. In fact, I was very, very satisfied by what they did. They reworked everything. Music, gameplay, story. It's obvious that they put a lot of thought into how they want the story to go. It's also even more amazing that the game, FF7R Remake, is 40 hours long. But if you compare this section of 40 hours to what was in the original game, it's like they milked 40 hours of the content into a section that was originally like what, 3-4 hours? That's a lot of work. This game definitely worth your time, especially since it is going to be the first part in what will be multiple parts of the Final Fantasy Remake game universe. So we have no idea when we're going to be seeing the next installment to this game. I'm hoping it's not too far away, but considering everything's been really radio silent about it, we shall see. But definitely worth playing because so beautiful. It's like playing a cutscene. That's how beautiful it is. And that was always the dream, right? You play a cutscene. Phasmophobia. Horror games are a genre of games that I do not do very well with. I don't remember a single horror game I've completed. I've started a few, then always got too scared to see it through. Like, it's just scary to me. I get nightmares, bro. But there's something about Phasmophobia that has me going back to it. Maybe it's the multiplayer aspect where you play with friends. Maybe it's the fact that it's such a unique concept and you can take the horror in small bursts, But trust me when I say this, in my opinion, that game is genuinely scary. You play as kind of like a ghost hunter, paranormal investigator, finding your way in these haunted locales, trying to identify and catch footage of the ghosts. So whereas in other horror games, you're generally trying to run away from the ghosts, in this one, you wanna go look for the ghost and take pictures of it. It's really a lot of fun to play with your friends. I highly recommend it. And one of the cool features of the game is you can use your real life microphone to talk and call out to the ghost in game, and the ghost will legit respond. Just make sure you're prepared when you do it, because sometimes the ghost's not too happy when you call them out by their name. The Last of Us 2. Oh my god, this game is probably the most divisive game of 2020. The people I've spoken to either love it or they freaking hate it, man. And I can see why, but it is still a game you need to play. If only because it's so divisive. You gotta know what the fuss is all about, and you gotta know where you stand. Now, it's really hard to talk about the game without entering spoiler territory, and because this is a video about trying to get you to play all these games, I don't wanna spoil you, man, but let's just say that what The Last of Us 2 does is pretty amazing in the sense that when you think about video games and what they stand for, they stand to make us feel good, they stand to make us feel powerful. You're always the good guy, leveling up, getting stronger, taking down the big bad. But in The Last of Us Part 2, you'll play a character that does some pretty horrible things in a realistic enough way that kind of hits close to home, and we go like, no, why like this? It doesn't make me feel good at all. This one is realistic enough to move your feelings on the inside. And if you're one of those people that does believe that video games are an art form or could be recognized as an art form like cinema or music or painting, then you need to get on this, because I remember reading a quote about how like the true purpose of art, or art is supposed to evoke emotion, and I pretty much guarantee you play The Last of Us 2, some emotion will be evoked. It won Game of the Year divisively for a reason. Cyberpunk 2077, man. Oh, this game, hands down the most anticipated game of 2020, and also arguably becoming the most disappointing game of 2020. It's a first-person RPG where you take on a role as a citizen of Night City, where you are basically going up against the corporations and the street life and doing missions, and there's a whole storyline to unfold, and I cannot tell you, nor do I want to tell you, but I'm pretty sure by now you know Keanu Reeves is in it. Suffice to say, this game promised so much. A beautiful, immersive world, customizability, it promised the ability to modify your character and have multiple different play styles, so many things. And I have to say, that's a really tall order to make. But CD Projekt Red, the makers, did have 8 years to work on it, and what came out was quite disappointing, especially for players on a last-gen console. PlayStation 4 players just complained that the world was terrible texture-wise, weird little glitches would happen. My character, personally, went through an entire phase where I couldn't have pants show up on him, even though I was fully dressed in my inventory. And I'm still telling you to play it because there will be fixes on the way, and underneath all the bugginess and glitchiness, there's a game, a really solid game, still worth playing. Is it the life-changing genre that we expected? Probably not. Is it worth your time? Hell yeah, Keanu Reeves is in it. That's like, it's cool enough just to like give it a whirl, right? So definitely give Cyberpunk 2077 a go, but don't be in too quick of a hurry to play it. Just put it on the list and then wait for more updates to roll out. My personal number one of the year is this beautiful, gorgeous game called Hades. I made a video about it a couple of weeks ago, and it is a roguelite, and it is the simplest of premises. You are the son of Hades, god of the underworld. You want to escape and join your family in Mount Olympus. That much I can tell you, not a spoiler at all. But as the game plays out, certain bits of information about the story reveal themselves. And even though you're playing the same thing over and over again, it never really feels like a grind. Now, Hades isn't a AAA CGI fest that will blow your mind away with the graphics, but in terms of like the gameplay, the music, the story, everything is executed so well, it is worth your time. I cannot love this game enough. I think you'd be doing yourself a great favor if out of all the games on the list we've talked about, this was the one game that you played. It's so good. You will not regret it. Okay? Okay. And that's a list. How many of the games on the list did you play? How many games do you think I missed out that I should have made the list? What would you take out? How would you adjust my list? What's your personal must-play game of 2020? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime though, thanks so much for watching. My name is Jeremy. It has been a pleasure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and most importantly, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy. Bye. The intros take me like a million years to do. It's like, I talk on camera for a living, but whenever I'm doing my own filming, in the back of my head, I keep thinking like, oh, is everything okay? I wonder if everything's in focus. Is it okay? Is it clear? Like, sometimes it's just easier. Sometimes we just handle the stuff behind the scenes for me. I can just focus on talking. I'm not used to having to worry about the other stuff. Why am I talking to myself?